I would be more afraid of a military coup had Donald Trump not spent his entire administration insulting the military and calling them, fools and idiots and suckers for serving the country. So I don't think that there's some kind of secret fifth column that wants to break away from the Republic and get behind Donald Trump, the kind of thing that Aaron Burr might have dreamed of.
What is this Louis Gohmert effort going to look like? He needs at least one senator, I understand, to support him, and there may be a senator who's prepared to support him. And then this actually becomes a debate in Congress on January 6th. How does that play out for you?
Well, what you're referring to there is that every member of the House or the Senate has the right to object to the counting of particular electors. And some of the, right-wing Trump cultists are saying that they're going to object. But you do need at least one person from the Senate side. So if a senator went with them, at that point, they would state their objection. And there's no debate right at the moment. We resolve to our separate chambers, and the House and the Senate would each conduct 2 hours of debate. Each side would have 1 hour with 12 members allowed to speak for 5 minutes apiece on each side. And then the House would vote and the Senate would vote. But here's the thing, assuming that COVID-19 doesn't sideline enough members for the Republicans to have some kind of temporary majority, the House is going to reject all of these completely ludicrous suggestions. And so as long as the House objects, regardless of what the Senate does, I think the Senate will override the objection too. But as long as the House rejects the objection, it doesn't go anyplace. At that point, the objection is killed. It's nullified. And if there's a second slate put forward, which hasn't happened yet, but they keep talking about it, or a standoff between the House and the Senate, it goes to the governor of the state for the certificate of ascertainment. So I don't think they have any real plays there. But the Gohmert suit in court is trying to say that the vice president gets to decide all of these things, and that will be thrown out like every other suit that they've brought. I think that they've lost like 52 or 53 lawsuits across the country with more than 88 judges rejecting and castigating them for the nonsense they're bringing forward.
Congressman, you make us smarter every time we talk. Thank you for that. Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland.